You've come off of some wins recently for the FairVote work. Would you tell us a little bit about FairVote, what the system would do to open up our political system, empower people, and what comes next for FairVote around the country? How can we collaborate? Who are you collaborating with? Where can we do it? And how can people help?
Sure. So yeah, there have been some great wins in the state of New Mexico in terms of my work, which is advocating for ranked choice voting. The city of Santa Fe implemented ranked choice voting for the first time this year in March for a municipal election. It went very well. We had a state law signed into law this year that in some ways enshrines ranked choice voting as an option for municipalities in New Mexico, and that has allowed for other cities to move on adopting ranked choice voting very quickly. Just this month, in the last month, the city of Las Cruces, which is the state's second largest city, adopted by a unanimous vote ranked choice voting. So things are looking good in New Mexico as far as the ranked choice voting work. Ranked choice voting is going to help us get to our goal of getting money out of politics and getting to a more representative democracy, because we get to elect people who actually are accountable to their constituents and who actually need to reach out to a broader base of people rather than just big bucks to get elected. In the Santa Fe election that we just had, it was really interesting to see. In 2014, the election was so, there was so much PAC money involved in that and so much negative ads. And 4 years later, with ranked choice voting, the PACs didn't know what to do. They couldn't spend the money because the money is usually spent on negative ads, and that doesn't help your candidate with ranked choice voting. So we actually saw very little PAC money spent on that election, which was great. As far as the big picture, I work on the New Mexico effort, but FairVote works on a national level. So we're working with groups and interested individuals in most states right now. There's, there's great examples of big wins that are happening on the national level. We have the Maine example that were, Maine just a couple weeks ago had their first primaries happening under ranked choice voting, and they will be electing their members of Congress and Senate moving forward using this method. The state of Utah, this is truly a nonpartisan, bipartisan reform. So on the more Republican side of life, the state of Utah this year just, both houses approved ranked choice voting as a possibility for their municipalities as well. And that is something that we think is going to move to sort of like a Maine-like statewide method for Utah in the coming months, years. There's that possibility for New Mexico too, considering that law that was implemented recently, that was adopted recently. But more than anything, really, FairVote as an organization is committed to supporting local groups on the ground that are interested in moving ranked choice voting in their cities and their states, and relying on the understanding of the landscape from the local grassroots people who are doing the work. So rather than being prescriptive and saying, this is what we need you to do, is allowing for local groups to say, hey, we want to do this in our state. We understand what the landscape looks like. We need support, and then FairVote can offer support to your local groups. There's great momentum going on right now in Massachusetts, in Maine, in Utah. There's great work going on in Colorado, in New Mexico. The Bay Area in California in general has a lot of interest in ranked choice voting, a lot of groups working on that as well. What we're hoping to do is just provide technical assistance, provide support in terms of communications, in terms of, FairVote has a great legal team that was very helpful to me in my work in New Mexico. These kind of supports would be available to local groups to help you get off the ground and help you achieve wins in your own state, in your own cities as well. So yeah, if you're interested in moving ranked choice voting in your place, just visit our website. It's fairvote.org, and you can connect with whoever's doing this work in your state, and then we can help you support those groups.
Great. Thanks, Maria. Excellent.